Autumn is my favorite season of the year, but Roy says it's dangerous. We're going to find out why right after this.
I want to be your disability rep.
The dangers of fall, and we're not talking about tripping and falling.
No.
We're talking about autumn here.
Yeah, I do this every year, and it is fall, so it seems like a good time to do it now. But, you know, a lot of times we don't think about how the activities we undertake in autumn kind of relate to your Social Security disability case, or how those reflect in your records and what judges may think about you as a result of it. And, you know, just think about simple things that come along this time of year. Halloween's coming up, week and a half, something of that order. There will be lots of grandparents and parents who have no business stumbling around the neighborhood with their kids, stumbling around the neighborhood with their kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, you start telling a Social Security administrator or a judge that you can't, you know, stand or walk for more than a few minutes at a time. You trip over the curb, you end up in the ER when you're out trick-or-treating with your kid. All of a sudden, we've got a huge inconsistency in your record. And these are just the things that come up. You know, deer hunting, it's that time of year. And, you know, and if we kind of boil this down, there are handicapped accessible deer hunting opportunities.
There absolutely are, yeah.
So, you know, you could be horribly disabled and still qualify. I have a client right now who has a robotic setup rifle, and he takes kids that are terminal out and they hunt on his farm. It's a great non-for-profit, very successful too in its endeavor. So, you know, you can hunt when you're disabled, but a lot of times we think about deer hunting, and what do we think about, right?
Yeah, you're trumping around the woods and climbing up into a tree stand with, and then hauling that thing back out, you know, packing your deer back out.
Wet, if it's frosty or dewy, wet, uneven surfaces, rough terrain, lugging the deer in and out. And, you know, Missouri, you have to check in the entire deer, so it's not like you cut it in little pieces and hauled it out. But, you know, these are the things. Raking leaves, of course, you know, that always comes up every year. I don't know how big your yard is. If I see you hurt yourself raking leaves, I assume you're raking 3 acres.
Sure, yeah. Well, why not? Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just kind of the way that the Social Security program thinks, is if we don't tell them that that activity is incredibly limited and very small in the effort, they assume that you're raking 3 acres, that you shot the biggest Boone and Crockett buck in the Missouri's history, right?
Right.
And drug it out single-handedly.
Yeah.
You know, it'll overlook that your buddy on his side-by-side drove out and got it for you, because there's kind of that, I don't want to say it's an anti-client bias, but there is certainly, I think, a bias in that program. When you deny 66% of the people that you see, you tend to see the worst, the least pro-client way that you can, some of these activities, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've talked about the, you know, possibly what could be called a denial bias in the program. And so you just got to make your case, and that's why it's important to have an advocate that knows what they're doing on your side.
Yeah, and, you know, decorations, you know, people do this. Thanksgiving, folks overdo Thanksgiving all the time. And, you know, you just think about having people come over, you have a 10-pound weight limit, and you cook a 12-pound bird. Right,
sure.
And you know, it doesn't jive on the surface a lot of times. And so these are kind of my dangers of fall.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll talk about, you know, hanging Christmas lights and decorations outside. All things that have been routine most of our lives. We don't give it a second thought, but it doesn't reflect well for your disability if it makes an appearance in the records.
Yeah, no, 100%. You'll be in the office today?
I will. I'll be in the office all week. So give me a ring here at the 417-812-6698. Be happy to visit with you.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Roy, and we'll be back next Monday. See you then.
I want to be your disability rep.